I think that Audre Lorde, who, by the way, participates in the Combehavior
Yes.
Collective,
Yes.
and even before 1977,
Yes.
she is theorizing about difference.
Yes. Yes.
She's theorizing about difference from the perspective of intersectionality
Yes.
already.
Yes.
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 And so your question was, how can we take Black feminist challenges to essentializing ideas
Yes.
of woman and Blackness,
Yes.
and create a non-essentializing framework
Yes.
for Black feminism, of Black women in the African diaspora?
Yes.
And and when I see Lorde theorizing about difference and, from that perspective of intersectionality, it makes me understand that she is very attentive to the ways Blackness and womanhood and those two categories,
Yes.
They intersect differently in different spaces.
Yes.
Geopolitical spaces in the African diaspora.
Yes.
And like, I also think about the ways in which the academy, and I'm going to say the US Academy, who has been like central in the discussions of Black feminism, Blackness, and all that, especially in relationship to the African diaspora in the Americas, right? But Black women in the African diaspora in the Americas have been doing work, intellectual work on that area for a long time.
Yes.
But the US Academy, and I'm going to say academy referring to the US Academy,
Yes.
has been monopolizing that discourse in many different ways. So there is a question of power that too.
Yes.
So my question basically is, how do you understand that tension of power, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the urgency, but maybe the need to theorize Black feminism, Blackness, and womanhood from specific geopolitical perspectives.
Yes. Yes. So you have stated the question that I asked and elaborated it. That's exactly what my question was. How can we take the insights of Black feminism that have been applied in the U.S. context against essentializing notions of woman and essentializing notions of Blackness? How do we take that insight to not replicate that essentializing approach when we think about women in the African diaspora? And I think I think you made that question more specific and elaborated by pointing explicitly to geopolitical differences among Black women in the African diaspora. So one way is, we're supposed to name our privilege. Naming the privilege that Black women in the United States have. This is where I hear you going, in relation to Black women in other parts of the world. So that we don't, we are, we theorize and we collaborate and we listen, attentive to these differences as we work with women in other parts of the African diaspora. As you pointed out, the intersectionality theory would tell us that even though there are commonalities, it's not the same. So the experiences of those women in the Niger Delta who were protesting Chevron, we could see some common experiences in environmental injustice in the United States, but their experiences are not identical to experiences of African American women in the Mississippi Delta. There may be striking commonalities, and there may be ways we can collaborate against global environmental injustice, but we also need to recognize that there are differences among us as well, which and theorize about that. I don't know. I'm sure that's being done, and I just haven't become familiar yet, because this is a new area of my work that I do want to explore and work in and write about even more. But thank you for that illumination of the question I was asking. Thanks.
Well, thank you all, and thank you, Dorothy Roberts. So feel free to move around and get a little bit of food while I move us on to our first panel. Our
Sunny, are you leaving?
I have to leave at like 12.
Do you want to sit at the
I'm gonna sit in the back so I'm not like disrupted.
I want to get some food. I'm so glad I almost